One day in North Carolina, near the home of a man named Patrick Conley, wild black bears appeared. The predators didn't just come onto his property, they started behaving very strangely, as if they were intentionally looking for something or someone. The bears walked back and forth and stared intently at Patrick's house, causing him confusion and even fear. Then the man carefully looked at the large black bear and suddenly realized that the predators had come there for a reason. They were looking for him. This story began 3 years ago when Patrick went for a walk in the woods with his dog on a cold winter morning. The man assumed that the forest would be safe because he rarely encountered predators in this area. However, to his surprise, 20 minutes from home, he came across a young black bear, which was usually hibernating at this time. At the same time, the predator did not look menacing, but rather very tired and exhausted. Most likely, the young and inexperienced bear had chosen a bad place for hibernation in the frosty winter and faced serious difficulties because of this. Patrick realized that without help, the animal would probably die, so the man brought fish and fruit from home, which the bear immediately ate. Patrick also brought several bundles of hay to make a warm bed for the predator. Then the man built a small shelter out of branches to further protect the bear from snow and icy wind. After that, Patrick left, hoping that the small shelter he had created would help the bear survive the cold winter. A few days later, Patrick cautiously approached the same spot and was pleased to see that the bear had finally fallen into hibernation in the shelter he had created. Delighted, the man went home, trying not to approach the bear's unusual den anymore so as not to disturb its sleep. Over time, Patrick forgot about his good deed, continuing to live his usual life and hoping that the bear had managed to survive that harsh winter. 3 years later, while at home, Patrick heard a loud noise outside and looked out the window. The man couldn't believe his eyes because right on his porch, an enormous black bear with her cubs had suddenly appeared. He was shocked and a bit scared, as he knew very well that mother bears are especially dangerous and unpredictable when they protect their cubs. But the longer the man looked at the bear, the more it seemed to him that he had seen her somewhere before. Suddenly, Patrick smiled, realizing that this was the same bear he had helped survive the winter 3 years ago. Moreover, she had come not alone, but had brought her cubs to introduce them to the kind man who had saved her life. This was the forest predator's amazing way of expressing gratitude. Patrick cautiously stepped onto the porch, trying not to make any sudden movements so as not to provoke aggression from the mother bear. The bear and her cubs slowly approached the man, who stood in amazement, realizing that his good deed had not been forgotten. Patrick treated the forest predators to fruits and berries and even played with them a little, after which the animals returned to the forest. However, the amazing story of saving the bear and her unusual gratitude did not end there. From that day on, the bear, which Patrick named Simone, often came to his house with her cubs, not at all afraid of the man and seemingly starting to trust him. The man and his unusual guests spent a lot of time in the yard, playing and exploring the area together. Patrick began regularly leaving food and water for the predators near his home and even filmed their visits to capture these touching moments. The cubs quickly grew and became more confident and independent. They played joyfully in the garden, climbed trees and fences, and sometimes even played with Patrick. Simone behaved calmly and confidently, watching her cubs and seemingly not worrying about them at all, which confirmed her complete trust in Patrick. Wild bears usually avoid people and protect their cubs from any potential threats, but Simone knew well that the kind man could be trusted. One day, Patrick noticed that the cubs began showing interest in his dog. At first, he was afraid to let the predators get close to his pet, but to his surprise, the cubs and the dog quickly found common ground and started playing together. It was an incredible sight. The cubs rolled on the grass and jumped around the dog, while Simone watched from the side, showing no aggression. Patrick didn't just observe the bear and her cubs. He actively documented their visits, recording them each time with a video camera. Thanks to these recordings, many people were able to see the unique friendship between a man and a family of bears and be inspired by it. Everyone admired the extraordinary relationship between Patrick and Simone, who, despite her wild nature, trusted the man with her most valuable possessions, her defenseless cubs. Nearly 4 years have passed since Patrick first helped the bear during a difficult period in her life. Now Simone and her cubs have become part of his life, constantly visiting him as if they were old friends. These visits brought Patrick immense pleasure and joy. He also began telling his friends about his unusual visitors, and soon the whole neighborhood knew about them. People admired and were inspired by Patrick's example, seeing how care and kindness could create a unique, strong bond between a human and a wild animal. As time passed, the cubs grew up and became fully independent, but they continued to visit Patrick's house. Simone often left them to play in the yard while she went into the forest to get food. Patrick rejoiced, watching how his little furry friends had grown. The grown-up cubs also treated Patrick as one of their own, not fearing him at all and even inviting him to join their exciting games. Patrick hopes for new visits from Simone and her cubs in the future. He continues to keep an eye on the bear family and tries to record them on video as often as possible. His story is a vivid example of how humans and wild animals can interact and build trusting relationships based on love, kindness, and understanding. It's amazing that even the wildest and most independent animals can feel gratitude and appreciation towards members of another species. The friendship between Patrick and Simone continues to grow stronger each year. Every spring, when the bears come out of hibernation and return to an active lifestyle, Patrick eagerly awaits Simone and her family's return. He always prepares treats for them and observes their lives, learning more and more about the behavior and habits of these amazing animals. Patrick has become a true friend to the bears, and his home is now known as a place where bears can feel completely safe. The friendship between Patrick and Simone reminds us of the importance of respectful treatment of nature and its inhabitants, demonstrating that even our small acts of kindness can have a significant impact.